In 1956, at a mining site in northern France, a professor hired a group of local miners to assist him with his research project. They descended more than 930 meters underground, and during their exploration, the miners stumbled upon the final messages, left behind by those who had died here 100 years earlier.
Il est venu pour chacun d'entre nous. L'ombre. Il se cachait dans le noir. Désormais, il dort. Je l'entends toujours.
Reading the words carved into the stone sent chills down their spines. The three men quickly made their way back to the fork in the tunnel, hoping to regroup with the captain. Meanwhile, the captain had already found the professor. When Jack and the others arrived, they saw the professor snapping photos of a massive wall. It turned out that what he'd been searching for all along was hidden just beyond that very wall. But this time, the captain refused to set off any more explosions, not unless the professor told them what was really inside.
Quelque chose d'ancien, d'une valeur historique inestimable.
After a moment of hesitation, the captain finally agreed, but only on one condition. Once they got what the professor wanted, they would leave immediately. The professor nodded, and the demolition expert set up the charges. When the smoke cleared, a brand new chamber appeared before them. It looked like an ancient tomb, its stone pillars covered in strange carvings and inscriptions. Behind a massive stone door, they found piles of skeletal remains. From the remnants of their gear, it was clear these belonged to an ancient civilization. At the center of the chamber stood a stone sarcophagus, its eerie design sending chills through everyone's spine, as if something inside was trying to claw its way out. Urged by the captain, the professor snapped a few quick photos of the tomb, and they all hurried toward the exit. But just as they reached the tunnel's opening, one of their teammates was leading a mining horse forward. Suddenly, the animal grew agitated, bolting straight into the darkness as if sensing something terrible nearby. A second later, the ground shook violently. The exit collapsed before their eyes. Poor Sonny didn't have time to react. The wooden bridge collapsed on him, crushing his legs completely. They were ruined, leaving him permanently disabled. Worse still, the cave-in buried the exit completely, trapping everyone deep underground. Fuming, the captain blamed the professor for everything. It was his reckless research that had put them all in this deadly situation. But at this point, there was no choice, they had to find another way out. Meanwhile, Jack noticed Luz and Miguel were missing. He traced their steps back to the tomb chamber and discovered them trying to pry open the stone sarcophagus. They were convinced there had to be something valuable inside. Jack, however, feared for their safety and insisted they leave immediately. But the other two were clearly blinded by greed. Luz even called Jack over to help, but opening the sarcophagus wasn't easy. No matter how hard the three of them tried, it wouldn't budge. Exhausted, Jack suddenly noticed a hexagonal recess on the lid. His mind raced back to the strange stone he'd picked up earlier. Quickly, he placed it into the slot, and to their amazement, it fit perfectly. With a gentle twist, the sarcophagus unlocked. The three of them eagerly pushed the lid open and were greeted by piles of treasure. But what they didn't realize was that something terrifying had just been awakened. Jack wanted to warn the others, but Luz, already blinded by greed, stopped him before he could speak. Luz had no intention of sharing the treasure with anyone else, and he threatened Jack to keep quiet. Taking advantage of the distraction, Jack slipped away. But just as Luz and Miguel finished dividing the gems and prepared to leave, a horrifying scene unfolded. Jack saw the two of them running back in panic. Something felt terribly wrong, so he followed them. When the others caught up, they saw the three of them terrified, and immediately demanded to know what had happened before any explanation could be given. The monster had vanished without a trace. All that remained was Miguel's mutilated body, horrifyingly suspended against the stone wall. The sight sent shivers down everyone's spines. The captain turned to the professor, demanding to know what that thing had been. The professor admitted he didn't fully understand either. All he knew was that the sarcophagus was ancient, housing a god, and the chamber had once served as a sacred altar for its worship. But Jack had a different thought. He suspected the sarcophagus wasn't just a tomb, but a seal keeping the monster contained. At that moment, Luz suddenly realized something. Sonny was still back there. Worried for their injured friend, they rushed back toward him. Meanwhile, Sonny heard an unusual noise coming from the darkness ahead. Everything was pitch black, and he couldn't move. He tried to reach for a nearby mining lamp, but no matter what he did, he couldn't get it. Left with no choice, he used the professor's camera to get a glimpse of what was happening. Just as the captain and the others arrived, they witnessed the horror. The monster had grabbed Sonny and, right before their eyes, tore him apart. Rage and terror flooded the team. They charged forward, ready to fight to the death. But the creature vanished into the shadows before they could strike, leaving only fear and dread hanging heavy in the dark. The group quickly huddled together, trying to figure out their next move. The professor suggested returning to the tomb chamber. Perhaps the exit was hidden within the inscriptions, since those who built this place surely would have left a way out. With no other options, everyone pinned their hopes on the professor. Soon, they were back in the tomb chamber, and the professor began translating the strange symbols etched into the pillars. Following the clues, they pressed deeper into the cave. Before long, they arrived at a section that looked like a prison. But the people locked inside weren't prisoners, they were sacrifices, intended to be offered to the monster. From the inscriptions on the walls, they learned the monster's name, Soul Eater. Suddenly, a noise came from behind them. The group didn't dare pause for even a moment and hurried deeper into the cave. To their shock, the tunnel ahead looked exactly like the one they had just left. But On noticed something different. The pillars were splattered with fresh blood, trailing forward into the depths of the cavern. As they followed it, they realized the source, the mining horse that had gone missing earlier. Clearly, this was another horrifying act of the monster. Taking advantage of the distraction, the professor decisively pulled a lever, slamming the stone door shut behind them.